Go to the Harvest Festival, they said. It'll be fun, they said. We'll raise money for helping mental health, they said. We'll bob for apples, they said. And what do we get? Mary Pat's head in a barrel. We're going to break all that down more and next.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everybody, that music can mean only one thing. It is the GH Report right here on AfterBuzz TV, coming to you every Sunday night, or especially when we can do it. I should say every might be a little stretch. When we can make it. But we like to break down the latest shenanigans there in Port Charles, and this week there were aplenty. I'm Frank Moran.
And I am your co-host, Carla Renata.
And as always, folks, like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hop in the chat and share your thoughts about anything happening in Port Charles or anything that might be coming up along the way during our conversation breaking down this week's goings-on. But, folks, you may have missed it on Tuesday. We had a special interview with Wes Ramsey, who plays Peter Augustine General Hospital.
We sure did.
Yes, we had him in for a special Tuesday edition of the GH Report. I know. That's right. And it was a really fun interview. He was a great guest. Really enjoyed the conversation. So look for it there on YouTube. You can find it and listen to it and enjoy our great conversation. Carla crushed it right there.
No, that actually would be Frank that crushed it. So y'all got to give mad props to Frank because he did his thing. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Please.
And while we're giving out accolades, let's just shout out some people in the chat room, shall we? To Zoe Johnson, another brother, Amy Carluzzo, my girl Kelly P.I. Undercover, Annie Gorn, Susan Ruse, Simon Love, Daisy Flower 40, my boy Michael B., and I think that's about it. So, hey, y'all. Welcome.
Look at that. Thanks for joining us, everybody. So, before we dive into everything in particular, what did you think of the week overall?
It was a very interesting week. Let me adjust. There we go. It was a very interesting week because it had so many little twists and turns. Some things I saw coming, some things I didn't. It was an exciting week. I was very excited. It took a little bit to play out, but it was exciting nonetheless.
It's it was nice to see some stories get a little shot in the arm.
Mm-hmm. Literally.
Yeah, I mean, we may have been losing our head, so to speak, about some of these stories.
That's so wrong.
Thank you. But we may as well jump into the biggest story that I feel like is really starting to blossom this week, and this is Ryan Chamberlain finally gets to embraces all his inner dark thoughts and urges, and takes care of Mary Pat.
John Lindstrom, can we just say John Lindstrom is slaying it as Ryan. He's so freaking creepy.
Yes.
He's really creepy, and yeah, he finally does. But the way he took her out was just like, I'm glad they didn't show that on television, because when they showed him getting the pick, I'm like, oh, please don't show this. I don't need this. And then he touched it with his finger just to see how sharp it was. I was like, that was just so creepalicious. But Mary Pat, she just don't know when to stop. She be running her mouth, and she sat there and she was threatening him and blackmailing him, and he felt like he had no other choice. Like, I think he was probably going to leave her alone for a split second, because he goes, he says, once I give you this money and I help you get your job back, we're done. Like, he did his best as Ryan to try to give her a pass to not fall into those impulses and those urges, as he would like to say. But Miss Thing just couldn't. She didn't get the hint. She did not get the hint.
I don't think it takes too much to get Ryan to want to embrace those dark urges.
No, it don't. But she didn't help her situation at all.
So before we dive into the Ryan side of that, with Mary Pat, the week started off with her. We'll backtrack a little bit when she runs into Laura and Carly at Ferncliff.
How much did I love that? How much did I love Carly running into her running into Mary Pat, and Mary Pat had her little box, the kind of box they give you when they done fired you from your job.
Yeah.
And then the nurse on duty is like, yeah, remember to turn in your badge as you leave, which we find out later that she didn't. But that made me laugh out loud. And then, Carly popping off and just saying what she said. But when she rolled through that door and she was like, hello, Caroline, it was the way she would say Caroline that just would send chills up my spine, literally.
I couldn't quite figure out the pacing of that, because They meet her first at the end of last week, where she pops in for a second, and then she gets booted out there by
Right.
the nurse on staff. And then all of a sudden
She reappears.
She reappears. Like, how are they letting her back into the Ferncliff? She was
Yeah,
like
she showed up in the hallway, right?
Yeah, and then she came into the room that Carly used to be in.
I was like,
I'm like, what are you still doing here? You got the boot.
I thought when she said, and remember to turn your back, I was like, okay, she gone. And then you're right, she did come back. I'm like, somebody didn't think that through.
Yeah, and just yeah, it wasn't even trying to be sly. Like, she wanted to just come and throw some extra digs at Carly, but she's still holding that box, walking around like, how's this working?
She's trying not to give up.
I
Ferncliff
guess.
was in her blood. She was trying not to let it go.
What I did like, though, is Carly just breaking down everything that she did, and where she said, I told you that I have a lot of friends out there, and that who my husband is, and messing with me and drugging me when you shouldn't be doing this is going to have repercussions.
Well, and it did. Kelly brings up a good point. It's like, how did Mary Pat not know that wasn't Kevin? Like, if you've worked in this facility this long and you're trying to keep, and not trying, but you're keeping the secret for Dr. Collins, for Kevin, how do you not know the difference between, and you know that they look alike? Like, you're the only person there that knows that they look alike. How do you not know that that's not Ryan that you're dealing with? Like, I don't understand. That was a little odd for me, don't you think?
Well, I mean, I guess, you do know that person's in Ferncliff, but you think that they're still being medicated and in captivity. I guess you're not thinking that, they probably switched places and then he left.
But then she makes that comment where she's like, oh, who cares about Ryan's whatever she said? He's locked up in Ferncliff. Like, I would think as a nurse that you would be able to tell one person from another. I would think you would be able to tell.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking, well, yes, but
You know what I
identical
mean?
twins, I think that makes it tough. Especially when
Yeah.
she hasn't a lot of time to hang out with that twin who hasn't been being medicated to his gills.
All right, he was being medicated. Yeah, that's a good point. He was being medicated, and he did have on a straitjacket. Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
But what I did like about with Ryan, of course, he's got his infatuation with Ava, and we can dive into a little bit of that. But
I can't wait.
What I liked this week is that, and especially with John Lindstrom's performance, that you just saw, I felt, the moment where he lost all interest in Felicia. When she started talking about what it's like to get older, not going on adventures anymore, and just
Right.
be a grandmother.
Right.
And you just saw, like, the light
Come
just turn
across
off.
his face.
Yeah, he's like, nope. No, and Ava just conveniently sitting behind her
And
floating rib.
he just kind of like zoomed in on
Yeah.
her and was staring at her. I'm just like, but I think like appreciates like, and I think because he's crazy as hell, he can notice crazy as hell because it's sitting across the room from him. So that's why he's fascinated with her. Especially I can't remember if it was Felicia that said it or somebody said, why would you even treat her? She killed somebody. She did this. It was Felicia rattling off that list, right? So Felicia's rattling off all this list of really horrible things that Ava does, and the more she lists off, the more intrigued he becomes by Ava. It was comical.
Yeah, it's like, don't let her get her claws into you. She should be worried about me getting my claws into
Ooh,
her.
when he said that, I was like, you're a little creepy, but it's like creepy. It's like hot creepy. It's like it was kind of him and Ava together are kind of hot, but it's like a creepy kind of hot. Like it's hot for them to like each other, but you're kind of creeped out all at the same time.
I feel like Ava's definitely enjoying it because it's somebody that is
Paying
validating
attention to her.
point and validating her point of view.
Mm-hmm.
It's not trying to tell her, you got to be better. You got to think differently. You got to be nice to your daughter. Nope. He's like, nope, just embrace these urges that you have and these feelings. Let's explore them.
She gonna do something crazy, but then he don't like her that much because then what did he do?
Now, do you feel like it was also somebody like a cat who really thinks they're doing something great, and they bring you a dead mouse that they get, and they leave it at your door?
That's funny that you say that because Simone Francois says Ryan is like a cat leaving a dead animal for their owner, showing how much he admires Ava.
Yeah.
That's so funny. She totally agrees with you.
Yeah, I was like, it just seems like, hey, look at that. That's what I got.
Ugh.
And what you see, it looks like the pieces are being set up that he's trying to set Carly up for this.
He's trying to set Carly up for it, and then there was that moment where they said they found a hair on the body, and the hair was blonde.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's gonna suck if he does that to Carly, and she ends up having to go back to Ferncliff.
I don't think there's enough evidence, but it's definitely going to at least make her sweat for a while, which
That's
Yeah.
going to be hard, and it's going to distract her from Mike and Sonny and all of that. And they don't need that. They need her to be in Michael. Like they need her to be focused for that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff's about to go down for them.
What was and interesting is that he says, "Oh, I came back because I wanted to make sure that the police knew that I saw Mary Pat," and then just proceeds to kind of start laying the groundwork for Carly's and Mary Pat's kind of disagreement.
Right, but then Laura's standing behind him going, "But,"
Yes.
and I'm like, "Ooh." But she said that. Haven't you said something when you were mad at somebody and you didn't really mean it? And they're like, yeah, but, and then that's when Jordan kind of goes in on Kevin. She's like, so I want to know what you were doing here in the first place.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Jordan ain't no dum-dum. She about to figure it out.
It's well, we see the week ending with, of course, Mary Pat finding her head bobbing up in that barrel of
That was
apples.
so, let me tell you something. When I saw, I was not ready for that.
Really, but you knew
I
it was
not
coming.
No.
Come
no,
on.
No, I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that. When that head floated, I was like, oh, hell to the no. I screamed at the TV set. I was like, oh, like I can't. Thank you. I can't unsee that. That was like watching a horror movie for me, and you know how much I hate horror films. I was just like, oh, this sucks right now. This sucks for me so bad in this moment.
I saw this one coming from a mile away. The
Did
only thing,
you?
oh yes, the only thing that did throw me was I was expecting there wasn't going to be any apples or water. It was just going to be her body inside there. They did a nice little zig though, and added just the head floating in there, and then her body being in Ava's gallery. I was like, all right, that's a nice little twist that I didn't see coming.
All of that was just nasty. And let's just talk about how long was that headless body sitting in there? There were no flies. There was no odor. Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I feel like Ava has been to that gallery that frequently. I guess is able to get in and put that body in there with a nice little pumpkin just resting on top. But we finally get to see Brian's next move because Laura is just so adamant that they keep their relationship, and like, why are we like two ships passing in the night? And he says, I think we should have a separation.
That I didn't see coming. I didn't see that coming. And I'm really interested to see how that's going to play out for Laura now, because she looked distraught. Like, ever since Laura's come back, she's been very strong, very definitive, very, owning her womanness or whatever you want to call it. And when he does that to her, it just broke her. And she's had nervous breakdowns and been sent away before. So I'm interested to see how that's going to play out for her. But I hated that they did that to her. That was horrible.
It was rough, but from Ryan's point of view, he has to do something to get her away, because the longer she's around, the chances.
I
of her
get it,
figuring
which
things
makes
out.
me feel like he might actually have some kind of feeling for her, because he could have just knocked her off. He could have just killed her.
Could have, but I also feel like killing Laura opens up too many cans of worms. I think it'd be too tough.
It is, but somebody that's crazy, they don't necessarily have logical thinking. He's crazy.
He's crazy for sure, but I also think he's calculating too. And I figured that is a risk-reward strategy with Laura. Like, for example, because he was ready to kill her when she first got back, and nobody knew she was around. But then as soon as Lucy came in, that was one other person that knew it. And then Lulu comes over, and then all of a sudden the people
All these
knowing
people
her,
know, yeah.
and it's like, I can't kill her now. People know that she's back. So I feel like it became risk-reward with him. And he's like, I can't kill her. It's too risky for me to get caught.
Yeah, Amy in the chat room says that what we've been saying is that Ryan wanting to separate her just saved her life.
Yeah.
He basically saved her life, which makes me feel like there's like, I don't know if it's a guilt feeling or what it is, what type of feeling that is attached to her for him, but it was enough for him to not go through with taking her out.
Yeah, but
Other than what you said. Yeah.
I think it's just him trying to save his own skin. Plus, the convenient thing is by saying you're separated, it gives you a chance to just move on. And if things kind of start to blossom with Ava, we're separated. It's fine. I can explore these things.
See, that's what's gonna blow his cover. Is if he does anything with Ava, that's what's gonna blow his stuff sky high. Because Ava's not the one. If he sleeps with Ava or anything happens with them, and then he does some shady stuff, Ava will go off on him, and that's gonna blow his cover. Because she is not one to keep her mouth shut. about anything ever.
Yeah, it would. I think it would be a red flag to everybody if they saw Kevin hooking up with Ava. I think everybody would be like, "What
What
is
the
going
hell?
on?"
Right.
with our-
They'd be like, "What the hell? What happened to you? Who are you?" Yeah, it would be a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm like, I don't know about that. It was just crazy. What else happened? Oh, but I knew something was going to happen with Kevin and Laura, and I didn't know what it was because every time she would try to spend time with him, he kept lying. He would lie and lie and lie. But I love that she called him out. Like, she was like, "You said you were here and you were not here. Where were you?" But I got to give it to my boy. He would come up with a lie that would make her shut up in a heartbeat, wouldn't he?
I'm doing this sleep study. I got to be there. It's got 5 consecutive nights.
And that's the other thing. I'm doing a sleep study. It's not 5 consecutive nights. It's one night overnight with one person. Like, what are you doing? So if she had known anything about a sleep study, she would have known that right there was a lie. I'm like, it's one person in a room. Like, unless you're doing separate people for those 5 nights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm just like, get out of here with that.
Well, we see the whole reason that Laura is at the Floating Rib for this whole Harvest Festival that they're throwing is that she has also been considering she wants to be a write-in candidate for mayor.
Yes.
And already, they say even after just a couple days after announcing her.
28% of
Yes.
the vote, yeah.
And we see Ned come over there with Olivia and kind of start like sweat it out a little bit, like,
Yeah,
28% in a couple
but
days.
they were trying to be cool, which was kind of funny. It was
Yeah.
kind of funny to watch them try to be cool, but not. But then Olivia's like, "Look, she's a write-in candidate. There's no way she can catch up with you now. In 24 hours, she got 28%. It's happening in 2 days. I'm just saying."
What do you think right now? Do you think it's just going to be Laura being mayor now, and we see Ned lose that? Because
Probably. I mean, that would be the best way for it to play out because it would give Laura something to focus on other than her and Kevin breaking up, or her and Kevin breaking up may unfocus her to the point where she can't go through with it.
it's tough because I feel like it's whether it's as the mayor or as she's just going to do this on her own, investigating the state of mental health in Port Charles and maybe even the state of New York. But you need her involved in Ferncliff in some fashion because she's got to be able to find some way to get in there so she can eventually uncover Kevin.
Maybe she'll work with GH. Maybe she will work with GH to establish a task force or something. But yeah, the only reason I'm hesitant about the mayor thing now is because she did break up with Kevin, and any breakup, especially somebody that you really, really love, is devastating. I don't know that she would be able to focus and do the right thing for Port Charles as mayor after that breakup because her emotions will be all over the place.
Is that a storyline that you want to see mined? I mean, certainly we've got the mobster angle with Sonny and Jason. We've got the hospital with General Hospital and the various doctors and nurses that work there. We have a little bit of the police department, not as much. It's kind of a smaller part. Seeing some of the mayoral aspects and seeing a mayor kind of going through and getting a storyline engaged with somebody doing their mayoral duties, is that something you're interested in seeing?
Not really. I mean, I don't think they've ever shown somebody do duties. Like, they kind of hit up on it every once in a while, usually when it's an election, but that's about it. We never actually see the mayor of Port Charles actually do anything.
Yeah.
Unless, it's an earthquake or a murder investigation or a press conference or something like that. But other than that, we don't ever really see them do anything that I can remember.
No, which is true. I mean, I don't know if you want to, I mean, we had Luke Spencer being mayor, but a long time ago.
I know, I remember that.
But
for a split second.
Do you want to see like a West Wing-esque version, a little segment of General Hospital where we get to see Laura trying to, do her very best to save her city that she loves so much?
I don't know. I'm conflicted on that. What do you think?
If it was told well and there was an interesting story, I mean, certainly you could fold this whole mental health care crusade that she has with her mayoral stuff, and it could be interesting. But I figure like once that storyline, because it's so heavily tied into the Ryan and Kevin storyline, once that kind of resolves itself, it would I think I'd have to worry about what the next storyline would be. Would I be interested?
Yeah. I just want to flip back to Mary Pat for 1 second, and the only reason why I'm laughing is because Ryan says to her, "Well, you did torture Carly," and Mary Pat says, "Torture." That word's so overused, isn't it? That made me laugh out loud. I laughed out loud when she said that because she was drunk, and she's like, "It's so overused." I'm like, I'm like, I love that GH gave her one last like comical thing to say before they took her out. That made me laugh. I just had to give a shout out to that.
we keep seeing, and especially when Kevin gets over here, a conversation between Ava and Kiki in regards to Avery, and how as long as she's with Kiki, as long as Avery is with Ava, Kiki's not allowed anywhere near her. And see that friction, that kind of combativeness between mother and daughter. And Kevin is back there just kind of listening to this whole thing.
Yeah, that's what makes me think that she might be his next victim.
Kiki?
Because he likes Ava, right?
Yes.
So he's got this thing for Ava. He might see Kiki as a way, just like you were talking about how a cat brings a dead mouse to the owner. Like, look what I did. He may take Kiki out for the same reason.
That could be very true.
Because I think you said her contract is up.
Well, she's leaving because she's got that Pretty Little Liar spinoff.
She's probably the next one.
It's a shame. Especially since we do find out, though, that for sure that Sasha definitely not.
Yeah, she was a little too nice. She was a little too nicey nice, and she's got the hots for Griffin. So if Ryan takes out Kiki, then that leaves Griffin up for grabs for Sasha.
No.
I'm like, that is just so messy. Like, how you gonna go after your sister's boyfriend? That's just messy.
Well, the bummer about this all is that as much as we didn't want it to be, Valentine is behind this as well.
Yeah, I'm just like, you're doing way too much. You're doing too much. Like, are you doing this to torture Nina? Like, do you think she's not going to find out? Like, what do you think? I don't understand his thought process. I really don't. He's always running around pining and lurking around the corner talking about how much he loves her. Somebody that loves you wouldn't do what he just did. That's just mean.
So I would really need to have him walk me through all this because...
Exactly.
Yeah, why he's doing this and how he was able to set this up, because Curtis was involved too.
Right, but Curtis didn't know that Sasha wasn't really the daughter, and like you said, he doesn't know that the DNA kit was faked because he gave it to her and she had to send it in. It's not like he watched her do it. You brought that up either last week or a couple of weeks ago when we talked about that. So I'm just like, and when Curtis finds out, oof.
So it makes me wonder how much of the story is true. Is it true that Nina's child is still alive and they just haven't found him and found her, and because it was going to be so much of an impossible task, Valentine says, I will just find somebody to impersonate that, get some closure with Nina and say, oh, that's great, I've already got a mom, she's passed away, but it's nice to meet you, but I'm gone.
Well, it makes me feel some kind of way about Valentine, because now it makes me think that he purposefully killed her mother to stop her mother from telling her the truth so that he could manipulate Nina's feelings and how she came back to him and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, wow, that's sick. That's sick on a whole nother level.
Yeah, but I gotta feel like Valentine, I still don't buy, I don't think Donna Mills is dead. I don't think she is.
You don't think she's dead?
No.
I think she did.
The fact that we didn't see it happen, no way. You don't take Donna Mills off the canvas like that. She is still alive, much like
yeah,
Claudette.
she is soap opera royalty.
Yeah.
So
Claudette is alive out there as well. I feel like Donna Mills is out there as well too. But I don't know what Valentine's worst thing is that he knows how Nina feels about lying, and so why is he going to do something like this that's going to blow up in his face?
I don't know. People in the chat room are saying he's desperate. And that actually makes some sense. Like, when you're desperate, you'll just do or say anything to get the results that you want. But that's taking desperation on a whole different kind of level for me.
I think finding out that the daughter is still alive, if he was able just to go with that to Nina, I think that would have been good enough to at least maybe.
But no, then he had to materialize a real human being.
Yeah.
And then have her get attached to her. And then that's just a lot. That's just a lot going on. I don't like Sasha moving in with Kiki either. That makes me feel some kind of way.
Well, and I still don't understand too why Sasha wants to stick around too. I mean, certainly she's a grifter
because of Griffin.
Yeah, well, yeah, but for Valentine, with all his connections and his power and his money, why would you say like I'm gonna go against you and still stay in Port Charles, even when I know you want me to leave, because the longer I stay here,
I'm telling you, because of Griffin, because she's got the hots for Griffin and she's nosy. She's nosy. Like, come on. Like, that scene on the pier where she's like, oh, I have a Charlie horse in my calf. I'm like, I'm looking at the TV set like, really? you had to see my face watching GH this week. I was just like, Really? A Charlie horse in your calf? You run and you don't know how to stretch out a Charlie horse? Are you kidding me? You better go get a Salampus patch and some Epsom salt and call it a day.
It's hard. It's
I was
hard.
like, and that's the thing. You can't even stretch out a Charlie horse. You got to like put some ice on it. I mean, you can stretch it out a little bit, but it really kind of like lingers there for a minute. I just like, Sasha was getting on my nerves with that. I'm like, I'm going to need you to go. So, and then I love how Nina called her out. Nina was like, so you kind of like being in Port Charles? She said, so you do know that Griffin is Kiki's boyfriend. Well, they didn't say they were serious. She called him her boyfriend. What do you consider serious, diva? I was like, really? And even Nina called her out. Like, Nina didn't come straight out and say that's foul, but she kind of did.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, well, good for Nina for trying to like get on the right side of the law. Because I remember when Nina first showed up in Port Charles, she was messy too. She was messy for a minute.
Yeah. But I'll give it. She came out of a coma. I'll give her a pass on that. But I am curious with the speculation that it seems like, you know, with Haley Aaron leaving the show, it looks like they're going to be killing off Kiki. This storyline, it feels like, I don't know if it's really going to get a chance to really get played out, because I can't imagine they're going to keep running around for as long as it would take for that to really happen.
No, but what I'm kind of not having is that they're telegraphing who they're going to kill off. Like, I remember back in the day on GH, like when they did the clown murders? Remember when they did that? You never knew who it was that was going to get the axe. You never knew. And with this, I feel like it's kind of like telegraphing who's going out so that when it happens, you're not really surprised.
No, there's always a lot of that soap opera foreshadowing that they do. And you're like, oh, boy. But, you know, we don't like to foreshadow. We like to break things down here.
Is that right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, you know, we do a little bit of speculation, but it's also analysis and thoughts and criticism as well. But you know what, AfterBuzzers, our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows. From drama, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There's no network that works harder to serve television fans. And we've looked. There is no one else. It is us. It is us. But now we need your help. So we're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By doing that, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about those pesky notifications, you don't have to be, because they're optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel, and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. And let us know you did so in the comments. And besides getting a wonderful shout out like Carla did at the beginning of the show, she is going to go to a sculptor. She's going to get some clay. She's going to go on that little spinning wheel.
He says it's every week and that he's lying, right?
And she's going to make like a little miniature model of General Hospital.
Oh, my God.
And send it right to you. Look at that. You have your own little Carla Renata sculpture right there.
Yeah.
Of General Hospital.
That's so not happening.
So for now, though, thanks for being the best fans and helping us become the ESPN of TV Talk.
And on that note, let's shout out a few new people who have joined. Monique Abraham has joined the chat. Tommy Oseni has joined the chat. I mentioned Simone Francois before. And I think Robbie Olson have joined the chat. So thank you guys for joining us and talking to us about GH.
Let's talk about a storyline that I know you love and I do not care about.
Sam and Jason, yay!
Well, when they start looking through all those letters for and they I hated when
So when they first started it, I was like, why are they doing this close up? But
yes.
I was like, this is when that first, and I was like, this is weird. Why are they like doing? And then it was revealed very quickly, thank goodness, that they were reading these letters. I'm like, oh, because I was like, General Hospital writers, if that's how y'all gonna go in on Sam and Jason, I'm gonna feel some kind of way about that. So I'm glad that that's all it was.
I am glad it was only that little bit, because
Me
I
too.
was worried.
If it was any longer, I was gonna shoot myself. I was like, and I love them, but
I was imagining that whole episode, the through line was going to be them reading those letters and getting comfortable with their own feelings for each other as they read about these feelings that these two people had. No. But they go through all the various letters between Joe Scully and Margot's mom, and they finally find the letter,
Jeanette,
that says, "Hey, you know what? We should off my husband. We should bump him off."
Yeah. See, I knew something was shady about them, because you can't be married to the mob and be innocent. Like, come on, is Carly innocent? Hell no. So Jeanette wasn't walking around with no blood on her hands. We knew that. We just didn't know how much blood she had on her hands.
Yeah. So we find this, but they're also like Sonny was his big worry was that there could be another letter out there. You know?
He right though.
Yeah.
There could be some letters that he don't know nothing else about, and Margot might know where they are, which is why she being so dogmatic about everything.
I don't know, like writing those love letters, and certainly you have the woman that you're in love with write you a letter saying we should kill my husband. Well, I don't know if you'd ever write back a letter saying it is done. I had this young man, Michael
No,
Corinthos.
not that kind of letter, but it may be a letter from somebody else, not necessarily him, but it might have been a letter from somebody else outlining what went down that was there, that somebody that we don't know about yet.
It feels like less and less. It seems like the storyline is not going to focus so much on how's Sonny going to get out of this, in the sense like, is there evidence out there that could make him accountable for this murder? But how he's going to just get Margot off his tail, so to speak.
Well, he calls her up and leaves a message for her. But I love before that even happened, he went and he thanked Sam and Jason and told them to thank Spinelli. He's like, thank you for all the legwork that you did, but I got this now. And I was like, I'm like, what you mean?
Yeah.
What you mean you got this now? Like you gonna handle this now? I'm like, what you gonna do? So when he walked out in the hallway and he called her, like, I can't wait to see that scene. That scene with Margot and Sonny, ooh, that's gonna be a doozy. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see how Margot reacts to that. Is she believing? I don't think she's going to believe anything he says right at first. She's going to have to verify anything that.
With her mother, there might have to be a scene with her and her mother.
I feel like at first she's going to not believe it at all, but then it's going to gnaw at her, and then she's going to go seek out her mom to try to see if it's true or not.
Yeah, I feel like that's gonna have to happen. She's gonna have to talk to her mother because, her mother has painted that picture that her father was perfect and that he loved her oh so much as his little girl, blah 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 blah. And now she's gonna find out that her mother was trying to get rid of him so that she could be with another man. Do you know what that's gonna do to her as a daughter? It's gonna destroy her.
I wonder, like, what Sonny's motive is going to be. Is he going to just, because certainly she's put her father on her pedestal for so long, and it feels like she's already lost one parent. She still has her mom still alive, though. Do you just kind of shatter her illusions about her father, and that's fine because she still has her mother alive, or does he go for both? Because it's one thing to kind of shatter the illusions of the father that he's really connected with the mob, he's really in deep. Maybe that's enough to kind of shake her off, and doesn't want to hurt her so much to say, you know what, and also your mom was ordered the hit on that, and destroy that relationship between the still living mom and her.
I think he wants to destroy her. I think he mentally wants, if he could bump her off, he would. But I think because that's just too obvious for him right now, I think he just wants to mentally mess with her the way she's mentally messed with them. I'm like, you couldn't mess with them more mentally by having your father buried next to his son. Like, that was a mind mess of the epic proportion. So he wants to just get back at her the same way that she's trying to mess with them. And so I think he would mess with her and tell her that. I do.
But I also, for as terribly as Margot's gone about this whole thing, she has a valid point where she's just looking to find out who killed her father. So I could see Sonny at least trying to make her realize what kind of man her father really was, but not ruin the relationship between her and her mom. I don't think he would. I don't know if he'd want to go that far and be that hurtful.
I don't think he would want to go that far, but she's like a gnat to him. She irritates him. It doesn't take a whole lot for her to irritate him. So I feel like it's only going to take that one thing for her to say or for her to do, for him to go, okay, you know what? Boom. And then he's just going to lay it out.
Well, we don't. There is certainly, if this truth has been uncovered, it is not going to lay it live just between Sonny and Carly.
It's General Hospital.
Yeah.
Somebody going to tell somebody.
Now, we do get to see Margot go head-to-head with another member of the Corinthos family, and that was Michael.
Michael, yeah.
What did you think of that scene between her and Michael?
Eh.
You like seeing Michael talk a big game?
I don't believe Michael when he talks a big game. Like, I didn't believe him when he was talking a big game with Nell. It seems like whenever Michael talks a big game, there always has to be troops that rally in for him. Like, he'll say something, but there's always a bunch of people that rally in for him to make whatever he says a reality. That's how I feel about that. I don't. And I think it's because he got that little baby face. Like, I think if he looked different, I think that's what it is. He's got that little cute baby face that makes you not take him so seriously.
Like, what could you do? Come
Like,
on,
what you really gonna do? Get that baby face on out of here.
You scamp. Get away.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. But having said that, there have been a couple of scenes where he did show some signs of being more like Sonny than not. In the past when he was dealing with Nell, there were a couple of moments where he kind of, I don't want to say manned up, but that's the only thing I can think of to get the point across, where he kind of manned up a little bit, where I kind of did believe him. But with her, what do you think?
It's interesting, like the fact, because Margot, understandably, she's looking for justice for her father, but just like, oh, well, he killed your father, your real father, your birth father. I'm like, oh, man, Margot, you will. There's nothing that you will not say or do to get to what you want, which is maybe not the best thing to do.
No, she gonna come at him through AJ, and AJ's a sore spot for him. That's just why she said what she said.
Yeah. But we get to see Michael. I did like the scene with Michael and Carly, where Michael says, I'm having problems.
That was a beautiful scene where they talked about loss. She knows what it's like to lose a child because she lost Morgan, and he knows what it's like to lose a child because he lost Jonah. That was a really nice scene between them. Now that I actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
You know what else I enjoyed? I enjoyed Britt coming back. And what I really enjoyed about Britt coming back was her sitting in that floating rib, eating them ribs like it was the last rib on the face of the planet, and her making it like, I said, oh, I just kind of, she came back in all her glory. They gave her like the best dialogue of the whole week.
Yeah, it is nice when you can drop in that character that can just start to puncture people's balloons in different storylines.
She had the best lines all week long. When she came at Finn about, wow, Faison and Anna, that's just an image you just can't seem to get out of your brain, isn't it? I was like, ooh, she's shady boots. I loved it, though.
We do get to see her meet Peter August, her half-brother.
After she got doused by a picture of margaritas by
Lulu.
I want to say Maxie Lulu. Ooh, that was fun. But I love how the introduction happened. She doused her with the margaritas, and he was like, what's going on here? And she was like, oh, you haven't met? This is Britt, what's her last name? Westmore. This is Britt, whatever her name is. And this is Peter August. And she's like, this is your sister. I was like, and then she just bounced. I was like, yes. It was great. That whole scene right there, that was the best scene of the week for me. That whole little situation that happened at the floating rib with all of them was the best scene of the week for me. It was hilarious.
It seems like it's certainly at least the meeting between he and Robin went much better. I feel like I think he's more comfortable with that side. It seems like I feel like the Brit thing, like that whole thing, he was like, what is this?
He was like, who are you? And then I love that right after that, when he started to ask questions, Anna was like, let me holler at you for a second.
Yeah.
She pulls him out into the hallway. When she said, can you please put a muzzle on Lulu? I thought I would howl. Like Lulu was a dog. He just go throw a muzzle on her. Oh, that made me laugh so hard. It made me so happy. But what confused me though, and made me happy all at the same time is, when did they get so comfortable that they could have a civil conversation? When did that happen?
I felt like he was being more civil after people were telling her that she was going after Obrecht because she wanted to make sure that he was safe.
Okay, because I'm like, that was the first time I ever saw him have a conversation with her. I'm like, did I miss something where he wasn't all pouty and snippy and, Yeah,
it's because they had that brief conversation in the Metro Court when she said that she was going to go find Obrecht. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's when you saw him start to soften just a little bit. I mean, like we had talked about when Wes was in, which you can see on YouTube, our conversation with Wes Ramsey. Make sure you go check that out.
Yes.
But yeah, what I really liked about
Nice
that scene when he
segue.
found out, that door cracked open for him for a second, and he's like, all right, maybe, this woman is a little bit different than I had envisioned. And you can see like that wall maybe start to kind of come down a little bit.
Okay. I'll give you that.
Yeah. So we'll see what that happens. As much as, Wes Ramsey is great, and Peter August's character is somebody that is kind of, got a little annoying at first, but when he first came on, but I kind of grown to enjoy him.
Yeah, they're starting to humanize him a little bit. They're starting to humanize him and make him make him not this, because for when he was walking around being the brooding dark son of Faison, that was kind of started getting on my nerves. But now what they're doing is they're humanizing him. They're making him kind of dorky, kind of what's the word, kind of just uncomfortable, sort of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which humanizes him and makes him like a real person. It, like when they had him go see Maxie, he had no idea Maxie's birthday was on Halloween. He goes to visit Maxie. He's standing there, finds out it's her birthday with the balloons and the flowers from her mom and dad, Felicia, Max, and her. And then he runs out and he goes to get her cake and dinner. And they have that whole bonding moment over streaming the Brady Bunch, which actually made me laugh. Like, who would actually stream the Brady Bunch? That's a lot going on. That's years, and there's like a lot of streaming going on that you are not going to get through in one night. I'm just saying.
There were some moments in that scene I was just like, in those beats, when they'd come back to him, like, oh.
It was funny, though.
Oh.
It was funny, though. It made me go, okay, they actually have more in common than we thought. Other than Nathan, they actually have like real stuff in common. So that was kind of cool to watch that play out just a little bit.
Yeah,
it was cute. It was a nice little beat to distract from everything else that was going on.
It was a little too saccharine for my tastes. I
enjoyed it.
Well, because there are times when people feel like those like that cringe comedy, like Curb Your Enthusiasm, that feeling that they get where they're like, oh, I just can't keep watching. This is just too much. I felt like that towards this romantic scene,
or
this kind of like this kind of bonding.
You don't like anything saccharine and sweet. You don't. You just don't.
I'm dead inside, Carla. These genuine human emotions confuse and frighten me. And make me
just don't. So I'm sure you didn't like the little moment between Joss and Cameron either, huh?
Oh, brother. Oh, man.
As Princess Leia and Han Solo.
That was rough. That was rough.
And did you like the scene with Oscar and Drew?
I liked it when Billy Miller got to deliver that little bit of monologue to Oscar about how he and Oscar and Scott are his world, and he just wants to spend as much time with them as possible. And it felt like, hopefully, it seemed in that moment Oscar started dawning like, yeah, I mean, certainly this is my illness, but
I think in that moment he realized it's affecting more people than he thinks.
Yes,
and I think that was probably an aha moment for Oscar. I feel like Drew is finally getting through to Oscar. I feel like he's the only one who is.
I hope so, because we've talked about the length of the storyline, and I am waiting for the next beat, because it's just like petulant Oscar is tiresome at this point. It is just very, very tiresome.
Oh wait, and then so we skipped over, but let's circle back to J-Sam, my favorite couple of the GH. So the letter thing aside, because we've already covered that, there was that moment where they almost kissed and then they didn't.
Thank goodness.
And I was like, again, I was talking to the TV set. I screamed. I'm like, wow, y'all not going to let them kiss, really? Can we just, like, do that and get it over with? Let's just have them kiss and get it over with. Like, they already kissed before, and then they got busted by Alexis, who walked in on them before. So it's not like they haven't gone past first base already. It's like, let's just have them, like, do it and get it over with. And then how much did we love the little boy dressing up?
Do not say we.
How much did we love?
Not say we.
How much did we love Danny dressing up as Jason for Halloween? That was uber cute. Was uber cute. And what was also uber cute was the fact that they were trying to teach him how to carve a pumpkin, and he was clueless. It was so funny. But I did love out of all of that, the moment I loved the most is where they were laying on the sofa, and he was asking her, so what was he for the first Halloween? And she went through all the different incarnations of costumes that she dressed him up in. It was just hilarious. Like, it was a moment between Jason and Sam I don't think we'd ever seen. Like, a moment of her really reveling in being a mom and how corny that can be sometimes, especially when it comes to something like Halloween. It was cute. I liked it.
What the thing I did like about that is when Jason was explaining to Jake about why he doesn't have those connections to Halloween. Because after the accident, or he was also explaining that to Danny, that, which is one thing that I just forgot too, is that, like, even those holidays, if you have no memories of your childhood,
then you don't have memories of holidays either.
Yeah, and you lose that kind of association with it. So I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
That actually does make a lot of sense. But what I really love about them bringing Jason back, Steve Burton back as Jason, is that there's an unspoken chemistry between all of those characters that he has history with, the Sams, the Sunnys, the Carlys. There's all that in Michael. He has all that unspoken history with them, and it's almost like putting on your favorite jacket or your favorite blanket to sit under the fire with or something. That's what he is for a lot of people that watch GH. So us fans that love the whole J Sam thing, it's not so much that we're caught up in the romanticism of that moment as much as we're caught up in the familiarity of him being there.
Yeah, but I can completely understand that for sure.
You know?
But as somebody who was never even a huge fan of the original J Sam, it's just like, great. I got this piece of poop in my shoe that I'm trying to put back on.
Oh no,
Ugh.
no!
I want to put on my comfy shoe, and I gotta poop in there. Boo to that.
Monique Abraham said, I like Jason and Sam, but it's getting frustrating watching them play this dance just to give up the panties. Yeah, it is getting frustrating. It's just like I said, we've seen them kiss. We've seen them go past first base. It's like, let's just let them knock boots already and get it over with.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What news we got?
What news? Let's go for some hot news.
AfterBuzz TV News.
We talked a little bit about this last week, though. So Chloe Lanier, again, nail shenanigans, not done yet. So
Of course not.
Yeah, because something's got to happen with this the Brad and Lucas / Michael storyline.
Yeah, they left that alone for a minute. Thank goodness.
Yeah, but she's an essential part of that, and so even though she's off doing other things, she's always been excited to come back and for occasional appearances. And this is certainly a storyline that needs those occasional appearances.
Yeah, it needs a resolution too. So there's that.
Yes,
Yeah.
because just get the baby in Michael's hands already. I just can't see just him just sitting there talking about Jonah. Like, there's just something about this baby that when I see him.
Well, yeah, whenever he talks about Jonah, it's like you would thought he had spent like 6 months with the baby before he passed. That's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
It's like you saw him for 2 seconds. Come on.
Well, she'll be back.
What was that?
That was a baby. Baby Wiley? Is that you? Baby Wiley? So we'll see Nell back on November 8th. So just about the middle of next week.
Okay.
Or this week coming up.
Okay.
Since it is Sunday. And farewell to Mary Pat, but not farewell to us because she will be here November 18th.
Yes, she will be here.
Thanks to the ever incredible Carla Renata, she was able to secure.
Yes, I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying to work it out. Trying to get a few
fantastic.
more, but it's a process.
So yeah, that's our little bit of news hit there for that, and we'll move on to some predictions.
Oh wait, no! Before we do the predictions,
Oh,
sorry.
Let's have those predictions.
Before we didn't talk about Willow and Chase.
Yes, I feel like I was going to do that with that because I feel like as we predict about stuff.
And the only reason I wanted to talk about it is because when she first showed up on the scene, when they went to visit her in the classroom, we talked about her so bad. But I felt like she redeemed herself this week with that scene.
Well, all right, that the classic meet cute with like an authority figure that you don't trust and like who's like, you show me your identification. Like, what? You're not dressed like a cop.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Oh.
But her acting for that scene was way better than that acting when she was in that classroom. Because remember, we were like.
True.
All right, now we'll go to
Yes.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So yes, our prediction there with Willow and Chase there, because they did have a meet cute, and it looks to be that Willow is the mother of baby Wiley, the real baby Wiley that is since passed and has been body swapped with Jonah. So to see what happens, I feel like it's going to be. Do you see her and Michael kind of bonding in the course of their bereavement classes?
I do.
Meetings.
I feel like they set it up that way, which I actually would like, that he's with somebody that's actually going to be nice. We think.
Yeah.
You never know.
I will be interested to see if they make her somebody that is actually going to be there for a potential relationship with Michael, or if they're just, or she's there merely enough to have that bond so that it helps uncover the secret of Wiley and Jonah and where they swapped.
Well, in the chat room, Michael B seems to think it might be a triangle between Willow, Chase, and Michael.
Could be interesting. I did like the brief Michael and Chase scene that we got because they were pretty thick as thieves there for a little bit to get Nell, and they really hadn't talked much since.
Yeah,
then.
I feel like there's some underlying stuff ready to bubble up with the two of them.
As in hatred.
Not hatred, but I'm not quite sure what it is. I just feel like there's some unsettled business with them, and I'm not quite sure what it is.
I mean, it was interesting to hear like their bits of like from Chase's point of view, because we've always seen Michael's side of everything, but for Chase to have to go back to the family of Nell's former fiance and say that she's been brought to justice and give that family peace, how much that weighed on Chase.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that seems to be the speculation that she'll be the mother of baby Wiley.
Okay, we'll see.
But I guess I'd be interested in a Michael Chase Wiley triangle.
I would be interested in the whole Willow Chase Michael thing, and I would be interested to see, because I'll be remiss without saying, Stella showed up again singing the same old song. I would be interested to see what's really gonna happen at this Jordan and Curtis wedding too.
I will say quickly that I feel like Michael is a character that I like less when he is in a relationship, or at least is in any sort of kind of courting or dating or whatever.
Really? Why?
The scenes never seem real to me. I feel like I'm watching somebody acting.
I think Nell has changed all that. I think it's going to shift.
We'll see. I would. That'd be great. I mean, because Michael has certainly had his rough luck when it comes to women. So it would be nice to see him get into a relationship, but I just never buy it.
But what happened to the nurse that he was trying to hook up with at GH, and then they ended up not hooking up because of Nell? And then she had her little Me Too moment, and after the Me Too moment, we never saw her from her again.
Yeah, well, they had like their first date was almost like a business interview, where I was like, no, this is not going well. Goodbye. With Stella though, I at least I like though that I felt like the animosity and the anger had dropped, but just her feelings towards
the intentions have not changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I feel like she could be honest with at least them and say, yes, I'm trying to move past that, but I just,
I just can't. But she says that every time she sees them, so I'm kind of over it.
There you go. Those were very minor predictions, guys. Very minor.
Yeah.
We'll predict more next week. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode of the GH Report. As always, like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and thanks everybody for hopping in the chat. Make sure you comment, folks, so you can get that official Carla Renata General Hospital sculpture. He's dying to do that for you.
He's lying. I'm your co-host, Carla Renata. You can find me across all social media platforms at The Curvy Critic. You can also find me right before the GH Report over at Black Hollywood Live doing Black Tomatoes, a film review show. Check it out if you want to know what's playing in the theaters, in the latest and greatest in the theaters. And on Monday nights, of course, you can catch me with Dancing with the Stars after show. And I think that's about it. Frank Moran.
Oh, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of the GH Report. But we'll be back here next Sunday night with our all-new episode right here on AfterBuzz TV.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.